Tonight, gas price relief, but no ease in inflation.
Everything has gone up in price. Absolutely everything.
Continual pressure on the Canadian cost of living. Plus, the cost of Crime Stoppers.
We're just not getting enough to pay our very basic bills.
A plea from the volunteer organization for more stable funding. And crashing out over a private jet.
To say this was just a minor error is absolutely absurd.
The Premier says he'll now sell the aircraft in the face of public backlash.
I heard loud and clear from the people that this was not the time to purchase a plane.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a bit of relief for drivers and a noticeable drop in gas prices today. Prices dipped below $1.65 a litre for regular fuel this morning as the federal government's temporary excise tax suspension comes into effect. That was expected to drop prices by about 10 cents a litre for regular and about 4 cents a litre for diesel. Meanwhile, Canada's overall inflation rate is rising, hitting 2.4% last month. As John Venevalley-Rao reports, fuel and food are key factors driving prices up.
At gas stations across the country, prices came down this morning.
Cheaper gas. It's good for us.
As the federal government's pause kicked in, removing its excise tax on gas and diesel.
So today is a 10 cents lower. Hope it's continued to decrease more prices.
They realize everybody's suffering quite a bit, and I think it's a great thing.
In Toronto, at some stations, the price fell below $1.60. This is the latest inflation data, reflected the recent surge caused by the war in Iran. In March, gas was up 21%. Statistics Canada's biggest monthly jump on record. And it helped to drive up overall inflation to 2.4% in March, though that was still below what economists had forecast.
So everyone knew that we were going to see a big jump in the numbers for gasoline. We saw it at the pumps, and now it's showing up in the StatCan data.
At the grocery store, food prices also rose, up 4.4% on an annualized basis, while notably fresh vegetables were up almost 8% compared to last March, their biggest increase in more than 2.5 years.
Everything has gone up in price. Absolutely everything.
You just have to be a lot more selective. You have to plan a lot more in regards to what you want to buy.
StatsCan mentioning cucumbers, peppers, and celery, saying they were up notably because of production challenges in some supplying countries.
It will affect every household, but lower income households, a bigger proportion of their total budget goes towards food. So this is particularly harmful.
Prices for food in restaurants grew at a slower pace, up 3.2% in March. Meanwhile, with the cost of transporting goods still more expensive, many economists say the ripple effects from that will be felt for months to come. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Good evening. Lots of sunshine in parts of the region today, but some off-late cloud cover and some flurries continued. Temperatures well below normal for this time of year and hovering in those low single digits. We'll dip down below freezing tonight in London, even have a bit of a wind chill. Now the winds out of the northwest generating off-lake flurries, and that continues. But as high pressure crests overhead tonight, the flurries will be winding down and skies will be clear. The temperatures, as I mentioned, starting to drop off. So by midnight, we're down to a -1, but the winds ease off as well. Warming temperatures in the forecast, some good news and some sunshine on the way. I'll have your local weather details and a look ahead at the next 7 coming up in just a few minutes. Carlyle?
Thank you, Julie. Sarnia police were here in London over the weekend through their investigation into the fatal shooting outside a Lambton College bar earlier this month. They were on Booley Street looking for their main suspect.
We're here today at Booley Street in London to canvass with regards to the reward that we got from the Crime Stoppers for $25,000 to assist in the arrest of Kiai A. Doe, who is wanted for second-degree murder as well as 2 counts of attempted murder. Information that we have obtained is that Mr. Doe, his residence is on Booley Street. What we're trying to do is see if there's anybody that would know his location that could assist in his arrest. What we'd like to do is try to make this as fast and as safe as possible. The best thing that Mr. Doe can do is contact his lawyer and turn himself in immediately. During the survey and handing out the pamphlets, there are multiple members from the Sarnia Police Service that are canvassing. The command bus is used as our home base throughout this survey. This senseless death in front of the Lion's Den at Lambton College has rocked our community. This is something that does not occur in Sarnia very often. It's felt throughout our whole city.
London police say they seized a loaded handgun during a recent human trafficking investigation. According to police, officers were at a hotel on Exeter Road Friday where they identified a suspected pimp. They say in the midst of an ensuing foot chase, the suspect tossed a Glock handgun in the hallway. Police say a 24-year-old man from Brampton now faces numerous charges. A London woman was sentenced to more than 5 years in prison today, convicted of manslaughter and the strangulation death of her own mother. With more from the London courthouse, here's Nick Paparella.
When emergency crews arrived at this townhouse at 392 Wilkins Street on July 8th of 2021, they came across a bloody and dirty mess and found the lifeless body of 59-year-old Elzbieta Cabala on the floor. An autopsy would reveal she suffered more than 50 injuries to her neck after being strangled. At the same time on that day, officers found her 44-year-old daughter, Barbara Cabala, lying on the floor with blood on her clothes. The court heard that the mother and daughter had a tumultuous relationship, which all came to a head that summer day. The accused claimed she acted in self-defense. However, in June of last year, Barbara Cabala was found guilty of manslaughter. At the sentencing hearing, Justice Patricia Moore said Ms. Cabala described the fight as the culmination of a violent, long-standing history with her mother. She went on to say the killing of a parent will generally track the same sentence range as the killing of an intimate partner. Both offenses are a profound breach of trust. Justice Moore told the court that since the incident, Cabala has been hospitalized, suicidal, and now suffers from multiple sclerosis. The judge said, "I understand that you shared a complicated relationship with your mother, and I accept your remorse." With the Crown asking that she spend 8 to 10 years in prison and the defense requesting a conditional sentence, Justice Moore handed down a 6-year sentence. With credit for time already served, Cabala was led away to start serving the remaining 5.5 years. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Leaders with the London and Middlesex Crime Stoppers program say they need a more stable funding model. The volunteer-run organization made a rare appearance at a recent London Police Services Board meeting asking for financial help. Rita Ismail reports.
We've had some financial difficulties.
The chair of the London Middlesex Crime Stoppers, Lloyd Stacey, presented to the Police Services Board for the first time, sounding the alarm over its finances.
We have to try and make ends meet, and we're just not getting enough to pay our very basic bills.
Stacey says despite working closely with police, Crime Stoppers operates independently and does not receive proceeds from any seized property.
Those are proceeds of crime, and they're handled by the provincial and federal government. So we don't get that. So the more tips we get, the more successful we are, the more money we pay out.
It's an important partnership.
London Police say the program is an essential tool for investigators and the broader community.
Without Crime Stoppers, we would be in big trouble. There are a lot of people in our community that want to help and provide information to assist, support victims who are victims of crime, prevent crime, and Crime Stoppers is an opportunity for them to give information, protect those individuals who don't want to be involved for many reasons.
More than 1,400 tips come in each year locally, often leading to recoveries or arrests. But unlike some regions across Ontario, London's program does not receive funding.
I phone my peers, other chairmen and chairwomen across Ontario, and about 40% of the boards do enjoy some financial support from police service boards.
The Police Services Board has agreed to refer the funding request to its Finance Committee for further consideration. Until then, Crime Stoppers says it will continue fundraising, hoping community support can help keep the program running. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Fire officials say 2 people were displaced by a house fire in Thorndale Sunday morning. With more on the emergency response, here's Brian Bicknell.
The call to 114 Harrison Street in Thorndale came in around 10:20 Sunday morning. Fire Chief Nick Dorkin says 2 residents managed to escape unharmed.
Yes, we're very fortunate that the 2 people that were home at the time of the fire did make an escape. They noticed the smoke coming from one part of the house.
More than 30 firefighters responded from Thorndale and Dorchester stations. It took a couple of hours to get the fire under control. Police closed off a portion of King Street in Thorndale while firefighters tackled the blaze.
There were fire exiting from multiple points of the home. It was deemed fully involved. Crews did well. They did a transition attack, hit the fire from the outside, and then made their way inside to stop the spread from migrating to any exposures.
Chief Dorkin says the home did have working smoke alarms. Investigators are still working to determine a cause. There's been no estimate on damage at this time.
We're reaching out to victim services to help the people that are still here.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News, Thames Centre.
A clearing operation is underway in downtown St. Thomas 4 months after fire ripped through several businesses and apartments. With more on the cleanup effort and how the business owners have since managed, here's Brent Lale.
They started actively remediating the site about 3 weeks ago.
Rubble and bricks are being cleared 4 months after fire ripped through a historic property in St. Thomas.
Some shoring that has to be done as they keep removing the materials away to make sure that everything stays stable and there's no further shifting of any of the buildings that remain.
Next door,
all our packaging, strip packaging, Dossette packaging, and our compounding center was all on this second floor, and it's going to be rebuilt.
Uric Pharmacy has reopened, but are only able to use less than a quarter of their property after smoke and water damage.
It pretty much decimated our building, but staff came together and we just looked after our clients and persevered. They've had over 30 plus dumpsters of just getting rid of the rubble. Within our own store itself, we've had to go right back to the brick.
Firewalls saved Urix. However, Crazy Joe's Gym and the Lucky Kitchen restaurant were destroyed. Joe has not reopened, but the Lucky Kitchen has a new location in the south end of the city.
The first 2 months, so we keep see which way can have another shop to open it. So finally, now we find out this place is very good. I really appreciate everybody support us.
Over the next few weeks, the site will be cleared and graded.
The owners still have care and control of the property, so really it'll be up to them after the work is completed to decide how they wish to move forward.
Have you guys discussed possibly buying the property next door?
Well, they're still in the middle of the cleanup. The insurance is a different insurance agent than us, and our insurance is talking to their insurance to make sure it's a good cleanup. They've got a lot of fill to bring in, and taking their brick off our brick wall is going to be a tedious task, but we're looking forward to see what the end result is next door.
This is soon to become the second major hole in the city's core. This heritage property, destroyed by fire last July, remains empty. The city says they're working with the owners to move forward as quickly as possible. Brent Lale, CTV News.
Officials at City Hall are responding to hundreds of small business owners who lost curbside blue box collection earlier this year because of provincial changes to recycling regulations. With more on London's solution, here's Daryl Newcomb.
Curbside blue box collection ended on January 1st for 535 small businesses, churches, and nonprofits in London, when recycling switched to an extended producer responsibility system overseen by the province.
Putting it in the garbage hurts a lot of them to do that, and I don't think it helps us either with our landfill goals.
When blue boxes were collected by the city, trucks would also stop at small businesses and churches along the residential routes to pick up the recyclables. However, the new system only collects materials from residential sources. A staff report recommends a pilot project that would permit qualifying small businesses and nonprofits to drop off their recyclables at a municipal Enviro depot for free, and to launch a green bin program for eligible small businesses and nonprofit locations along curbside collection routes this spring.
It's hard to say no to what's before us, but it's really like a little more than nothing. Like, I don't know how many businesses are going to be excited about driving out there to drop off.
The new collection system categorizes recyclables as residential or non-residential, and Ontario regulations prohibit the mixing of the two sources.
We've yet to be provided with any type of sort of rationale justification from the province as to why that provision remains in the regulations, and that's what's causing the problem.
The mayor believes the simplest solution is for the province to change the regulation to permit residential and non-residential sources to be mixed along the curbside collection routes.
Ultimately, the best solution here is the trucks driving by make an extra stop and pick up some extra materials, as we were doing when we ran the service. So I'm happy to engage in that advocacy.
I think there's a little bit of confusion when we say we should do some advocacy work. We've already tried doing that. We should step it up and do it again.
The committee recommended implementing the recycling drop-off at Enviro depots, as well as the expansion to the Green Bin program for qualifying businesses. And they also expressed support for lobbying the province to make the regulatory changes.
I understand that the initial response from the province is the regulation prohibits this. Regulations can change, and I think there's a discussion to happen.
Council will make a final decision April 28th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The operators of a London fertility clinic say they'll soon install equipment allowing them to resume operations. The Omega Fertility Centre had paused operations in mid-January, reporting what was described as unexpected fertilization outcomes. Clinic officials have since released a series of statements while repeatedly declining interview requests. Those statements indicate an internal investigation was conducted along with an independent external assessment. No single cause was identified, but new equipment was ordered to improve outcomes. No patient safety risks have been identified either. Clinic officials say they're aiming to resume fertility services in mid-May. Premier Doug Ford says he will now sell a private jet the provincial government recently purchased following substantial public backlash. Siobhan Morris reports.
I understand that you may be passionate this morning.
Tempers hot in question period over the Ford government's purchase of a 10-year-old, $29 million jet intended for the Premier's business.
To say this was just a minor error is absolutely absurd.
Announced and defended by the Premier's office on Friday. By Sunday morning, Doug Ford said he's putting the plane up for sale.
It shows leadership when our Premier recognizes that a decision needs to be changed, and he changes it.
The Premier in Ottawa for a speaking engagement got an earful over the weekend.
I heard loud and clear from the people that this was not the time to purchase a plane.
Ford says he should have been out making the case for the jet, even as Ontarians struggled to get by.
I understand the cost of fuel is going up. I understand groceries are going up. I understand everything is going up and it's costly.
But critics say the plane purchase has marred Ford's For the People brand.
The Premier's personal preference to have his own private luxury jet is really speaking more about who he really is.
The Premier feels he's victim of a double standard.
I'm under scrutiny more than the Prime Minister, more than any Premier in the entire country. And the inconsistencies from the media are just mind-boggling to me.
Pointing out Quebec and the federal government have jets to move politicians. The reversal leaves the opposition with more questions than before.
We deserve to know how every dollar was spent on this greedy scheme, including the penalties, including the resale losses.
The original buy would have been approved by Cabinet.
I can't disclose conversations that occur at Treasury Board or at the Cabinet level to preserve Cabinet confidentiality.
And new changes to Freedom of Information laws speeding through the legislature may keep more insight in secret.
And the Premier has the gall to spend your tax dollars on a private luxury jet, and now he's trying to use legislation to hide it from you.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Bruce Power officials say they've granted special permission to a pair of local filmmakers documenting underwater life off the shores of the world's largest nuclear power plant. With more on the aquatic ecosystem they want to explore, here's Scott Miller.
This is what it looks like under the waters off the shores of the world's largest nuclear plant located near Kincardine.
It just so happens that the slightly warmer water coming out of those plants, the water has been warmed in that process of making power. That attracts fish, and the water is crystal clear.
This Wednesday, to mark Earth Day, Bruce County filmmakers Yvonne Driebert and Zach Melnick will be taking their underwater robot camera to Lake Huron for an underwater live stream to document the plethora of marine life off the shores of Bruce Power.
We're calling it Fish City because really, you know, there are just so many fish and so many different species. You'll have these incredible fish called the big-mouth buffalo, which, believe it or not, lived over 100 years. Like, they're one of the longest lived freshwater fishes in the world. And these things, they just like this warmer water. They filter zooplankton just like a whale.
The Bruce Peninsula-based filmmakers are shooting closer to home this spring after spending last fall in Lake Superior, taking never-before-seen footage of spawning coaster brook trout, who were nearly overfished into extinction before a recent return to prominence.
It's an uplifting story because it means that the waters in these places are in good enough shape that these fish can do their thing. So we have been doing something right as humans over the last, couple of decades to help bring these fish back.
Driebert and Melnick have traveled the globe documenting underwater worlds, but have more recently made it their mission to try and shine a light on the largely undiscovered but amazing world under the Great Lakes, which holds 20% of the world's fresh water, but is also home to over 175 species of fish.
We all value the lakes because they're this clean source of drinking water, which of course is amazing, but they have this other value too as this incredible source of life, and this new technology allows us to see that and bring it to an audience in a way that hasn't been possible before.
Wednesday's Bruce Power Fish City live stream starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Don't just show up at Bruce Power with an underwater robot. It's not going to work out well for you, but we're working with them to have special permission to be there. And so it's kind of exciting because they get to see what's down there too.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, a trial begins for a Canadian man accused of spying on behalf of China. Plus, a recruitment campaign exceeding expectations, how the Canadian military is boosting enlistment.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. A former RCMP officer was in court today facing accusations of working with China as a bounty hunter. As Judy Trin reports, he was once considered Canada's biggest threat to national security.
The RCMP issued this CSIS espionage alert, warning that William Miker was a threat to national security, that he was working with Beijing to illegally compel individuals to return to China as part of its fox hunt program. Miker had previously told CTV News that he's not guilty.
I'm a patriot, not a traitor. And I challenge almost anybody who'd be watching this to put themselves at the kind of risks I've put for my country and for our allies.
Miker is a former Mountie who infiltrated terrorist groups to help them launder money. After he retired, he moved to Hong Kong to help Chinese companies recover stolen assets. In 2017, as part of China's anti-corruption fox hunt program, Miker is alleged to have tried to help the Chinese Communist government track down a Vancouver businessman named Kevin Sun. The CCP accused Sun of fraud. In court, the Crown presented an email obtained from the FBI that Miker wrote. He refers to a fraudster who's now a major real estate mogul in Vancouver with more than $100 million in assets. We can impress upon the crook that we hold the keys to his future, Miker wrote. But the defense pointed out Kevin's son, Miker's alleged target, is not identified in the email. This trial is expected to last 1 week. The Crown will call upon Miker's former colleagues in the RCMP to testify against him. Court documents also reveal that Miker, while living in Asia, was a covert asset for CSIS and Britain's MI6. Judy Trin, CTV News, Vancouver.
Canadian military officials say recruitment is soaring, up more than 60% compared to a year ago, with more on the apparent enthusiasm to enlist in the midst of widespread geopolitical turmoil. Here's Mike Lecouture.
7,310 new members were welcomed into the Canadian Armed Forces last year. The minister credits a newfound nationalism among recruits as the country faces threats from U.S. President Donald Trump of being made the 51st state.
They're very committed to this country. They want to see Canada remain secure and sovereign.
The McGuinty added the 20% wage increase for soldiers announced by the Liberal government helps, as do other investments.
They're also seeing on the ground a concomitant investment in material, in new housing, in kit.
Despite the spike in enrollments, the military still remains understaffed by a few thousand troops. Add to that an attrition rate of 8.5%, which makes it more difficult to hit the goal of 71,500 troops by the year 2029. Retention is another obstacle.
The size of the military is increasing, but the size of trained soldiers is decreasing because the training system is not able to catch up with the pace.
The Conservatives lay all the blame on the Liberals, saying it's a symptom of the last decade of neglect on military spending.
Out of the 97 occupations that are in the Canadian Armed Forces, 27 of them are still at critical levels, that they may not even be able to fill those positions over the next 25 years.
Now, the defense minister wasn't as forthcoming with answers when asked about the lack of progress on the purchase of new submarines and fighter jets. But there is a sense that the government wants more industrial benefits for Canada out of those multi-billion-dollar deals. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority say local water levels are receding, but they're still dangerously high.
Well, the water levels are starting to drop down. They peaked in most of the water courses around here on Wednesday, on the 15th, but they're still really high. They are dropping, but they're still really high. You know, we looked at our data from our water stream gauges, and over the last month, some areas have had up to 175 millimeters of water, a lot of water in the ground. In the last week, we've had, our gauges have had 25 to 75 millimeters of water, so we've had a lot of water coming down. The safety message is stay away from flooded areas. Don't drive through flooded areas. Don't walk into them. Keep kids and pets away from any flooded areas. Stay away from water courses in general because the stream banks are so muddy and slippery right now. You don't want to slide into the water. It's really cold and fast flowing and dangerous. So enjoy it from a distance. Stay away.
Julie's on the desk with me now on what has been a sunny Monday start to the week. A chilly start to the week, though, especially compared to some of the conditions we've seen and are heading toward through the rest of the week.
Yeah, things are looking up for us in terms of our temperature. It's headed up in the coming days. I know many of you not a big fan of the snow flurries over the weekend. We had some flurries out there today, and it continues as we head into the next couple of hours. Still some lake effect snow. Not what you want to see this time of year, and temperatures averaging about 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. Satellite radar shows that flow off Lake Huron. The winds today have been out of the northwest, ushering in some colder temperatures, but that's going to shift heading into tomorrow, and the winds will kick around to the south. So the flurries will be winding down tonight. Skies will be mainly clear through the overnight. High pressure in control of our weather, and that means we have some sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. There'll be a warm front slowly start to approach, and that could bring a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow afternoon, and we could squeak out a shower towards Chatham and Windsor, but the rest of the region will see lots of sunshine. So satellite radar showing that high pressure building in, and that will shut down the lake effect snow. Temperatures overnight. Earlier forecasts had us a bit colder, so we've brought those up just a touch, but still below freezing. In London, we'll dip down to about -2. Most of the region holding between 0 and -4, with those lakeshore communities holding at 0. Across the country, we had record-breaking warmth in British Columbia yesterday. Still quite warm across the southern prairies. Temperatures are in the mid to upper teens. We get into the cold stuff in northern Ontario, and that's our flow. Our jet stream waving its way across, so we have this ridge in the west and then a trough in the east, allowing this cold to filter in. Now, temperatures in Newfoundland, 19 degrees in St. John's. That's about to change. Some cold air moving in and some freezing rain on the way for parts of the Maritimes. As we go out 24 hours, so this is what I was talking about tomorrow afternoon, chance for a few showers. So this is in the morning, so we'll go from mix of sun and cloud to briefly mainly cloudy, and then back to a mix heading into the late afternoon. So some nice conditions. Again, a little shower could pop up late tomorrow afternoon into the evening towards Essex County. This even reading a slight risk for a thunderstorm. That's that warm air as it starts to come into southern Ontario. Lots of sunshine to carry us right through the week. Beautiful conditions, and we warm up every day. So today was the coldest day. Tomorrow morning will be cold first thing. A frosty start. Temperature first thing in the morning about 2 degrees, and we'll hit 15 in the afternoon. By Wednesday up to 17, 19 on Thursday with a mix of sun and cloud. We should stay dry through the week, just a very low probability. This time of year, as the air moves over the lakes, it generates cloud cover. We can't rule out showers, and that's why we have that slight probability. 21 degrees as we head into your Friday night, rain and then rain Saturday. 18 degrees Saturday, 15 Sunday, and into Monday. Midwestern Ontario, Huron and Perth County, mix of sun and cloud, beautiful 13. 18 on Wednesday, mainly sunny Thursday and Friday. And as we head through the next 7, I mentioned lots of sunshine in the forecast, that nice day-to-day warming. Definitely breaking out of that rainy pattern that we experienced Carlyle last week with those showers moving through, drying out, and definitely some great weather to get outside and enjoy some springtime weather.
For sure. All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, a tax refund to the rescue. More Canadians counting on return season to help with affordability.
Set your alarms for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning because we have a huge concert announcement that you're not going to want to miss.
Not only that, we then have tickets to that concert at 8:30. Make sure you're listening.
The Prime Minister released a pre-recorded address this weekend referring to Canada's relationship with the U.S. as a weakness amid the ongoing trade war. With more on Mark Carney's message, here's Graham Richardson.
It's a direct address to Canadians shot at a home in suburban Ottawa, with Mark Carney spending a lot of time on how the United States has turned away from free trade and what that means for Canada.
Many of our former strengths, based on our close ties to America, have become our weaknesses that we must correct. The U.S. has changed, and we must respond.
Pictures of his China and India trips front and center, suggestions that conservatives are too optimistic about changes in America.
There are some who say there's no need for a comprehensive plan. They believe we should wait it out in the hope that the United States will return to normal, that the good old days will come back.
Conservatives dismissed all of this as more of the same.
A family filling up a grocery cart in Saskatoon doesn't need Mark Carney's economic philosophy. They need the bill at the checkout to stop going up.
Carney talks about history here, too, and how Canadians have beat back American aggression before. Featuring a small statue of Isaac Brock, he says he keeps in his office a gift from Mike Myers.
Brock was a hero who fought and gave his life for our forebears in the War of 1812.
This address was not designed for a soft, comforting message.
There was an effort to offer people reassurance in this message, but much of it was stark. Much of it was meant to drive home how severe the challenge that we are confronting truly is.
This all comes at a tense time for Canada-U.S. relations. The Americans are moving forward with formal free trade talks with Mexico. That hasn't happened for Canada yet. And if this address was designed to land with Canadians, the government will be watching very closely to see how it lands with Donald Trump. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new survey suggests many Canadians are counting on getting money back as they file their taxes this year. According to Revenue Canada, the average refund is about $2,000, which, as Pat Foran reports, can make quite an impact given the rising cost of living.
More than ever, many Canadians are counting on a tax refund to help them pay their bills. A survey by TurboTax found 69% of Canadians say they'll be financially impacted if they don't get a tax refund this year, and 40% say they're relying on their tax refund to cover the rising cost of living expenses.
Canadians are increasingly becoming stressed over the state of the Canadian market, the economy obviously being triggered by a lot of the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing occur right now.
TurboTax says there are more than 400 different deductions and credits that you may be eligible for. The survey found 58% worry they may be missing out on tax credits and deductions. Using a tax software program can help you find them.
This is where a tax software like TurboTax with its AI can do that heavy lifting for you, will take out the guesswork.
UFile is another popular tax software program. Like most that are available, they also have a free version depending on your income.
Most softwares will offer a free version of their software, including ours, as long as they meet certain criteria, which are usually not hard to meet.
You can also go to the CRA's website and use SimpleFile, which is a free service for individuals with a lower income and simple tax situation. Many mistakes happen because people forget to deduct expenses they're eligible for. Comparing this year's tax return to last year's can help find errors and omissions.
Double check your return with your previous year's return. Okay, that's very, very important.
The survey also found 1 in 4 Canadians admit they're tempted to claim something they're not qualified for, which is not recommended. One change happening is the GST-HST credit has been renamed the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit. It will provide quarterly payments starting this summer to more than 12 million Canadians with low to modest incomes. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index changed direction today, finishing in positive territory. The TSX gained a modest 14 points. In New York, the Dow fell 5, the Nasdaq lost 64. The Canadian dollar up 0.13 cents. On commodity markets, gold dropped about $50 an ounce, and oil climbed $4.83 a barrel. Welcome back. The lawyer for a Canadian man accused of selling so-called suicide kits all over the world says Kenneth Law will plead guilty to aiding suicide while murder charges will be withdrawn. Law is accused of selling lethal substances online to people who later used them to die by suicide. His trial was rescheduled numerous times as the lawyers waited for a Supreme Court decision. Police had said Law ran several websites to sell sodium nitrite and other potential self-harm items to people in more than 40 countries all over the world. 2 local students have launched a new initiative collecting and distributing essential hygiene products for people who need them most. With more on the Hygiene for Humanity project, here's Lauren Stallone.
A youth-led nonprofit is working to improve access to hygiene products for those less fortunate in their community.
We did some research and found that a big issue in our community is a lack of hygiene products, and it really makes people feel like a lack of their dignity.
Dubbed Hygiene for Humanity, the initiative launched in November by grade 10 students Mariam Abdul-Baki and Inviksha Singh.
We decided that this project and this initiative would be a great way that we would make sure that everyone has access to it and do it in a way that we could help as well.
Organizers are collecting essential items through donation drives at local schools.
We have a wide range of products from hygiene stuff to menstrual care products to winter essentials. It's really a broad category. Some stuff we focused on for our health and hygiene drive was like toothpaste, toothbrushes, socks.
The founders, students here at Mother Teresa Catholic Secondary School in London, say they've received unwavering support from their peers.
We also had a lot of support from people just bringing in items or supporting our drive or sharing it to others, so that was something that was really great.
Once collected, items are donated to local shelters and churches, something London City Councillor Corinne Relman says the city needs more of.
What I'm really empowered to see right now is that we're seeing more young people get involved. We're seeing them understand the complexities of homelessness and take that knowledge and do something with it and be active in the community.
Singh and Abdul-Baki say this is just the beginning for Hygiene for Humanity.
We want to continue this as long as possible.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
More than 100 dogs and their trainers were in Arva this past weekend competing in agility trials leading up to the provincial championship coming up in Dorchester this June. Here's a look at some of the action.
Yeah, so they are doing the sport of dog agility. So agility is, you might see on YouTube or TV, where it's jumps and tunnels and obstacles, kind of like an obstacle course. The dog goes through and the handler has trained. So the handler and the dog are both running and going through different sequences. Specifically is open to all breeds, all sizes. So we've got little tiny, Havanese that jump the 4-inch bars up to the, large border collies who are jumping 20 and 24 inches. So all sizes. So this is a sanctioned event, so it's just everyone here is kind of going for their own achievements. You can get different titles and different legs kind of towards your titles, but it's also a warm-up because we're hosting the Ontario Regional Championship in June, so June 12th to 14th, which is a larger competition. We have about 280 dogs that are entered in that, who are all going to kind of compete for placements.
Temperatures start to warm back up. High pressure eases in from the west and some sunshine in the forecast as we push through the week. Thank you so much, Mike Mancuso, for sending this photo in, taken at Springbank Park. This is a northern pintail. You can even see the flakes of snow in the background. Warmer days ahead with a day-to-day warming heading toward the weekend.
President Donald Trump says the ceasefire with Iran will end Wednesday night if there's no deal reached before then. In an interview with Bloomberg, Trump said he's not going to be rushed into a bad deal. The ceasefire began April 7th, and it was originally slated to last 2 weeks. The American vice president and other top U.S. officials are expected to arrive in the Middle East tomorrow for a potential second round of talks with Iran. However, Iran's foreign minister said today there were no plans for talks at this point after American forces seized an Iranian cargo ship yesterday. A magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck off Japan's northeast coast this morning, prompting tsunami warnings. Sirens blared over loudspeakers along coastal Japan, and the area is expected to see the biggest waves. An hour after the quake, waves up to 80 centimeters tall were detected. There were warnings remaining for surges as high as 3 meters. Officials with the Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting Windsor and Detroit say heightened security was put in place last month after a Canadian with a criminal history gained access.
So that individual, it was not an easy opportunity for them to enter the bridge, and I don't want to provide additional details because I don't want people to attempt to copy that process.
According to bridge authorities, this incident was a one-off. U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents had previously reported a 28-year-old had attempted to cross the bridge on March 6th. Security has since subsequently been increased.
It gives us the opportunity to look at our response times and how those systems work, who calls who, how quickly people respond and react. Really, any opportunity right now to take an issue or initiative, reflect upon that, improve upon it, is something that we welcome at this time period.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. A hot air balloon pilot had to make an emergency landing over the weekend, setting it down in someone's backyard. This was in Southern California. According to the pilot, the winds had died down, which left the balloon hovering and running out of fuel. The couple who owned the backyard said the whole incident actually resulted in them meeting a bunch of their neighbors who had gathered to see what all the commotion was about. No injuries or damage were reported, and the balloon was eventually maneuvered out onto the street, where it was safely packed up. An iconic replica aircraft, which sat atop a Kitchener business for decades, is being relocated. The previous owners are donating the full-size model, sending it to Tillsonburg. With more on moving day, here's Spencer Turcott.
A crane lifting a plane, not something you see every day. A big operation requiring helping hands from high above and down below.
You have to move. We're going to remove the Spitfire off of the roof of KW surplus here
We're going to load it on this trailer that's just creeping up behind me.
The full-size fiberglass model of a Second World War Spitfire fighter aircraft has been perched atop the KW Surplus store in Kitchener since 1997. But it was taken down on Monday as the store's former owner, Ray Whittemore, sold the business.
It's emotional, but the business is... I'm older, so I'll be ready to retire.
Whittemore is an active member of the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association based at the Tillsonburg Regional Airport, so he's decided to donate the replica Spitfire to them.
And all the rivets and all the imperfections are there as well. So the only thing is, there's no motor.
The Aircraft Association will design and construct a new memorial garden on airport grounds, with the Spitfire acting as a centerpiece. Despite all the hard work dismantling the display at KW Surplus, it came at no cost to the Aircraft Association.
Getting the trucks, getting the volunteers, getting the crane. Everybody here is volunteered and the crane is being donated.
Several locals showed up to pose with the plane and take pictures. Even people who have worked on the replica came to say goodbye.
I actually feel quite sentimental. I actually painted that thing twice over the years while it was on the roof.
After arriving at the Aircraft Association, the replica will be repainted to resemble the colors flown by decorated Spitfire pilot and Guelph native Charlie Fox.
He's the man credited lately by the Canadian government as the man who took out Rommel during World War II.
As for the Second World War tank that sits on the KW Surplus grounds, it's up for sale and will soon be gone too. But all eyes were on the sky today as a piece of history takes off for its next adventure. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Kitchener.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.